What's shaking, everyone? So today we got another episode of Know Your Local Candidate for the 2020 election, and we're going to be taking a look at Maryland's 7th Congressional District. Now, it's a fairly talked about congressional district, and I think we don't know a whole heck of a lot about the candidates' positions, and I'd like to rectify that here today by looking at the Democratic and the Republican nominee, and once again we find ourselves, one person's looking to empower the electorate, and the other one's just kind of paying lip service in hopes that they'll return to their old seats. So, before we dive in there, I just want to thank everybody who's been following the channel here recently. The outpouring of support has been tremendous, and hey, if you're down there in the comments section below, if you would like a edition of Know Your Local Candidate on a race that you think is significant, feel free to drop that in the comments section down below, as well as hitting that subscribe button, because I put out content every single day, twice a day at least. As well, just feel free to hit that like button, because it does me a ton of good and it's of absolutely no consequence to you, but hey, makes me feel good. Anyways, guys, let's just dive right into this. So we got Maryland's 7th Congressional District, and right now it is actually it's not too dissimilar from the Martha McSally and Mark Kelly senatorial race that I did a dive on here about a few days ago. And it's kind of being held in stasis because Elijah Cummings, who was re-elected rather, in 2018, had passed away, and Kweisi Mfume won the special election in 2019, so he's only just kind of held the position here recently for a short amount of time. But prior to Elijah Cummings holding the seat, Kweisi was the congressman for this district. So he's both a new face and an old face for the 7th district here. And he is being opposed, or he's running against Kim Klacik, who's for the GOP right now. And she's made quite a name for herself. And man, it is a deep blue district. As you can see here, I got this pulled up just so you guys have some background if you're not from the area. It's a D plus 26, and what that means is you are going to be hard-pressed to find a deeper blue district. Man, Baltimore itself, and that's where this district is mostly centered around, has been under Democratic control for 53 years. At the mayoral, congressional, senatorial, janitorial, every single race that you could possibly vote for, whoever has a D beside their name gets the check mark. And unfortunately, I have a soft spot in my heart for Baltimore. If you've paid attention to any of the sports coverage I do on my channel, you'll know that the Baltimore Ravens are far and away my favorite football team. I have a signed helmet from the 2011 championship team just off to my right here. And, you know, if you don't know, Under Armour has their headquarters in Baltimore. It's, and I use Under Armour training equipment practically exclusively. Shit, I'm wearing Under Armour shorts right now while I'm recording this. Oh, a little behind the scenes look. Anyways, yeah, so I want to see Baltimore be great. And unfortunately, I got the crime statistics pulled up here, and The Wire, the great HBO show, was filmed in Baltimore for a reason, because crime statistics just keep getting worse year over year over year for Baltimore. Like, you look at total rape cases. In 2014, there was 97. In 2019, 382. Unforgivable numbers. Robberies, 1,115 in the past 5 years, and while that might be going down just about year over year, you've got murders. How about murders? Topping out at 49 in a city that is shrinking. You know, most cities are experiencing growth because manufacturing are there, headquarters are there, but Baltimore is a special case where, man, manufacturing doesn't want to be anywhere near it because it is one of the most unsafe, unwell-kept cities in America. And it shouldn't be. It is rich with resources. It is right on the seaboard. It's a major port city. Not but 50 or 60 years ago, this was one of the major centers. It was up there with places like Boston and New York for commerce. And now it's a wasteland. And you can't lay that at the feet of anybody else except for the 53 years of democratic rule, where all they're doing is creating dependents, not enriching anybody's lives, just creating more dependable voters by keeping everybody at the same predictable level. And there's a significant opportunity to do that this time because there is a candidate with major name recognition who has a significant chance to chip away at that D plus 26 rating that this district has. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the Democratic nominee, the quasi-incumbent right now. His name is Kweisi Mfume. Kweisi Mfume. Now, the guy has been a fixture of Baltimore for, the past 40 years, long before my time. He's been on the Baltimore City Council, as well as holding, like I mentioned in the opening, he actually held the congressional seat in the late 90s. And once he left there, he became the president of the NAACP. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what Mr. Mfume wants to be running on. So Congressman Mfume served as both vice chair and later chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. He was regularly designated to preside as Speaker pro tempore for the House of Representatives. During his 5th term in office, he was appointed by his caucus as vice chairman for communications. The fact that he's already served 5 terms in office and Baltimore's been on a steady decline for decades, should really get the old noggin jogging because, yeah, he's one to blame. Let's take a look at his bullet points that he wants to run on. Lower cost for prescription drugs. Oh, okay. How would he like to... can't click on that. I guess these are just all bullet points. He doesn't actually have a platform. Yeah, go figure. Improve and strengthen Obamacare. That failed Obamacare system that taxes people, and Democrats love to champion it as some sort of major success when it's just another one of these, milquetoast middle of the road things. I mean, let's be fair, guys. It's not working. Work hard for safer communities. Nice platitude. Expand access to quality education. Okay, fair enough. Reduce student loan debt. How about making university and colleges not so expensive? How about nip the problem right at the bud? That's a big thing. Let's go off on a little bit of a tangent here. You wouldn't have such high student loan debt if universities weren't so astronomically expensive. If you worked on the actual tuition costs, you'd have lower student debt. And you'd be able to focus your curriculum for these universities into actually useful areas. Like, instead of having such goofy things as lesbian dance study and historical gender degrees, like, focus on your STEM fields. But I digress. Let's get back to the actual meat of the story. Hey, stand up and fight for federal workers, fight for sensible immigration reform, vote to ban assault weapons. Another Democratic gun grabber, which is great because we looked at the crime statistics and every sort of violent statistic, especially murders, keep going up or at least staying the same. So making sure law-abiding citizens can't carry and protect themselves is a terrific idea, because what is an assault weapon to the left? They don't know. They can't define it for you. Anything that scares them and makes pew-pew noises, that's an assault weapon. Preserve and protect the environment. Whatever. If it's a big deal like that, sure, why not? By all means. Now, something that really sticks out there. What is specific to Baltimore? What is specific to his constituents? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. This guy just looks like he's paying lip service. And the fact that he's already served 5 terms in Congress, the fact that he's been on the city council for Baltimore, just really goes to show he just wants a paycheck. He's not here to change anybody's ideas. Like, okay, look at his presumptive boss, somebody he has support for, Joe Biden. 47 years in the public sector, hasn't done a darn thing. A vote for Mfume is another vote for just another do-nothing Democrat who's going to sit there, chair a few committees, and not really accomplish anything. But let's take a bit more of a look. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So Baltimore Sun, I have quite a few Sun articles up here because they're the premier paper for Baltimore, and they seem to be doing a decent job. Anybody from the Baltimore area, feel free to correct me. I'm down for that, but they seem fairly fair and balanced. So, former U.S. Rep. Kweisi Mfume defeated Maya Rockamuni Cummings, State Senator Jill Carter, and 21 other opponents in Tuesday's special primary election for the Democratic nomination to finish out the final months of the late U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings' terms, what I mentioned earlier. So his political background: former Baltimore City Councilman, represented the 7th District, like I said, a decade before becoming president for the NAACP. Oh boy. So not only is he a do-nothing Democrat, he is also somebody who was president of, I struggle to use the term, a racist organization, but all they are is... Okay, the reason I want to call the NAACP a racist organization is because if there was a National Association for the Advancement of White People, what would everybody consider that to be? I'll give you a moment. Geez, if you flip something that's in one direction and you flip it to the other way, if it could be construed as sexist or racist, guess what the original term was? It was sexist and racist. Anyways, first elected to Congress in 1986, he was Cummings' immediate predecessor in the seat and served as vice chair and chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. So we'll take a look at what he did in the interim after he held the congressional seat earlier and really accomplished nothing. As NAACP president from 1996 until 2004, so 8 years there. A nice little stead. Mfume was credited with steering the historical civil rights organization out of debt through fundraising and fiscal austerity. Which I'll, give him props for that. That is something I can totally get behind, being fiscally responsible. And maybe he can do that for Baltimore. Oh wait, he's already had the opportunity to, and Baltimore is bleeding money, so... Yep, not likely. He abruptly left the job, saying he had no specific plans other than by taking a break and spending time with his children. Well, I've got an article pulled up. Pattern of abuse claims that NAACP kept quiet. Uh-oh! Same day in May 1999 that Kweisi Mfume abruptly announced that he would not be a candidate for mayor, an internal investigation memo was sent off to top officers of the NAACP describing allegations of Mfume's mistreatment of female subordinates at the organization's Baltimore headquarters. Dun, dun, dun! Another Democratic creep. Listen, guys, I want to like people on both sides of the aisle. Just because a lot of Republicans right now are sharing in my same values of liberty, freedom, independence, doesn't mean that in the next election cycle, when I'm still making videos, if there aren't some Democrats on the other side that I agree with, I won't be doing a pro-Democrat video for them. It just turns out that, most Democrats have a bunch of skeletons in their closet, and they're kind of creeps. Maybe if I do some know your candidate for a traditional neocon, I'll be able to parse a few skeletons out of their closet. But man, take a look at that. I mean, goes into the private sector, Mr. Mfume here, and yeah, mistreatment of female subordinates in the organization's Baltimore headquarters. So a guy who was on council did nothing, already held the seat, did nothing, and allegations that if they were on the other side of the aisle would absolutely sink an individual in today's climate, but just because he has a D next to his name means, hey, you're in Baltimore, you're in Maryland, you're in these deep blue districts. Check, check, check down the aisle. So I'll about wrap up the coverage on Mr. Mfume here. So now we can cross the aisle over to somebody you might have heard about. She had a ridiculously viral initial campaign ad. Over 12 million views right now on Twitter and several million more on Facebook and YouTube as well. We have Miss Kim Klacik. Now, she's in tough, honestly, guys, but let's take a look at what she's all about. Who is Kim Klacik? So, she is a non-profit founder and Baltimore County Republican Central Committee. Kim Klacik, a non-profit founder and Baltimore County Republican Central Committee member who lives in Middle River, won the Republican nomination in Maryland's 7th Congressional District special primary on February 4th. She faced off against former U.S. Representative Kweisi Mfume in the April 28th special general election to fill Elijah Cummings' seat. Now, that was a very low turnout, very highly dependent on mail-in voting. It's weird, right? Because the Democrats would have you believe that there would be massive turnout if you sent out all of these mail-in ballots. That just wasn't the case. There were 1,100 in-person votes that were cast, as well as there were over 300,000 mail-in ballots sent out, and 100,000 came back. Great turnout, guys. Really worth compromising elections over. Anyways, let's get back to Miss Klacik's background. So, a Middle River resident who runs a non-profit and a member of the County Republican Central Committee, Klacik had the best name recognition of any of the GOP candidates in the race. Now, we'll get to the name recognition and why I think that that's such a super important thing for Klacik's potential election victory. But first, we'll take a look at what her nonprofit actually did. Potential Me, a Baltimore nonprofit that helps disadvantaged young women achieve financial stability, has found a new home in one of Sagamore Development Company's Port Covington warehouses. So I like this because instead of just handing out and just, adhering to the old, we've all heard the old story, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. This is what Kim's been doing for a very long time. She's out there teaching people to fish. She's not creating a dependency, and I like that a lot. Let's get to the rest of the story. The development company, owned by Under Armour CEO Kevin Plank, good man, will allow the nonprofit to lease 1,200 square feet of the space and will for free. See, tremendous guy. At 240 West Dickman behind Sagamore Invitational Hub and Markers Bay City for the garage. Now, Kim Klacik, a executive director of Potential Me, said that she was offered the space after speaking to Sagamore Development Company executives last summer at a community meeting about the Port Covington development. Potential Me sells donated items such as clothing on eBay and uses the profits to host workshops and events for personal and professional development and to provide the women they support with professional work attire. After lugging box after box up the second floor storage area, they were running out of space to hold all of the donations. So that's a very laudable thing. If you want to present people with opportunities to make their lives better, and by teaching them how to prepare for interviews, how to dress for interviews, it doesn't matter if it's an entry-level job at McDonald's or a janitorial job, or if you're bringing them to an office, you should always look presentable. Look look the part for the job that you want. And this is the opportunity that Kim was providing with this nonprofit, and still is. So, right, a very laudable position. I appreciate that very much. So she really broke through when she got a Fox News appearance, and as well was lauded by President Trump for attacking Elijah Cummings, calling his district disgusting and rat and rodent infested. In fact, she used to shot kind of off the cuff videos showing that there was trash piling up in the streets, rats just running all over the place. And this is a major city, a city with a rich history, just rat infested, trash piling up. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So now that we have a little bit of background on Miss Klacik here, let's take a look at what she wants to run on. She has quite a diverse list of goals here. So to create careers, not just jobs for the 7th District residents, something that she accomplished with her nonprofit as well. The 7th District is positioned to help Baltimore reclaim its status as a manufacturing powerhouse. It just needs somebody with enthusiasm, energy, and passion to tap its potential. Kim Klacik wants to maximize the potential of the Port of Baltimore and connect its world-class importing and exporting abilities with the I-270 Biotech Corridor and West Baltimore's Federal Opportunity Zone. Terrific. Specific to her constituents, as well as establishing her ability if she decides to, move forward in government and help out the rest of the way. Maximizing all of the resources available to your city and to your district in order to enrich the lives of the people that are there. Terrific. Exactly what politicians should be doing. This will bring manufacturing and medical supply chain industry back to the United States through Baltimore, creating more high-paying careers with benefits and business opportunities for entrepreneurs in the district. Terrific. Already looking at enriching the lives of the rest of the states. So, hey, absolutely great. Provide real educational choice. I won't bore you with the rest of the paragraph, but she is very pro school choice, which is excellent, because if you've seen some of the horrific school material when it comes to critical race theory and critical gender theory, oh boy, if you have the opportunity to homeschool or send your kids to private school away from these ideological prisons that are quickly becoming the public school districts, yeah, by all means. So public school choice or private school choice, yeah, very much so. Reduce crime with compassion. Let's take a look at that one. Kim believes that we lose too many of our youth to violence each year. She will look to provide additional mental health services to our most vulnerable families. Why not? Absolutely why not? Back our blue while supporting criminal justice reform. Terrific. Why not? Meaningful criminal justice reform must include all members of the system, including the district attorneys and prosecutors in our local, state, and federal courts. We must do more to support our police officers who keep our community safe. Absolutely. And also remove police officers who abuse their powers. Absolutely. And that, hey, I brought it up before, but get rid of police unions. They are just old boys clubs. All of the issues that unions were brought up for have already been solved. And look no further than Ronnie Coleman. He worked on a non-unionized police department. It was one of the highest paid, best supported with benefits, and one of the fewest complaint receiving precincts within the state, if not the entire country. So how about we start there? But that's, of course, just my opinion. I don't know if Kim shares my opinion, but I'd be interested to hear that. So she will work to address the criminal justice spectrum in its entirety, from police to the prosecuting system and incarceration through to more options to rehabilitate those leaving prison. If that's what the prison system is currently designed for, the rehabilitation of those who can be rehabilitated, by all means, you should be enriching the lives of criminals leaving the system after they've served their time. By all means, You should be able to live with or leave prison with a degree. You should be able to enrich your life so you enter society and can immediately make an impact. I'm very much for that. Reduce healthcare costs by repealing and replacing the failed system of Obamacare instead of just trying to put a band-aid on a gunshot wound like Kweisi would like to. Greater support for our military, absolutely. Follows the exact same issues that you'd like to do with supporting the blue. An American first foreign policy, yes, absolutely. America sets the standard for the Western world. Like it or not, guys, even as a Canadian, I understand that we are inexorably linked. And where the U.S. goes, we have to follow. Like it or lump it. And when the United States does better, the Western world does better. Ensure individuals' rights to bear arms. Let's take a look at that. That is just a very near and dear to my heart issue. Kim Klacik believes that individuals, families, and small businesses have the right to protect themselves from those wishing to cause harm and unwell individuals. In particular, she believes that a citizen should fully be allowed to protect themselves if and when the government fails to provide that protection. That stands in stark contrast to what Kweisi would like to do. He wants to ban assault weapons. Kim Klacik wants people to be able to defend themselves. If you are a staunch 2A supporter, here we go. You don't even have to finish watching this video, but I really would appreciate it if you do. Please do. Anyways, yeah. Done and dusted right there for me. And the final bullet point here, in continuation, what she was doing with her nonprofit, Women's Health. She's also very much for over-the-counter contraceptives at local pharmacies. So, hey, that's a discussion to have another day. How far the government should help subsidize contraceptives and basic healthcare items, but if that's something that she wants to do in order to disassociate the communities with less than reputable institutions, by all means. By all means. So this race has been on my to-do list for Know Your Candidate for quite a long time, and there was a certain inciting incident that really made this a must-cover topic. And it was something that you guys, if you've trolled Twitter or anything really, it's kind of made national attention at this point. The View segment with Maryland Republican Kimberly Klacik ends abruptly after she says host Joy Behar, who is a double-talking swine of an individual, paraded around in blackface. Well, she did, okay? Miss Joy Behar, dressed up in blackface, hey, many other people have been cancelled for less. Unless you're on the left, then you get a pass. Like Joy believes that she does. It was a super combative interview, and Sunny Hostin provided just the most View thing that you possibly could imagine. It was a very combative interview for the most part. Meghan McCain did her general, token conservative stuff where she was trying to have a reasonable interview with Kim, and it quickly devolved into just let's talk about how bad Orange Man is. Orange Man's bad, right? No, I'd like to talk about my platform for a minute. No. Donald Trump is bad. And yeah, Sunny Hostin just laughed and talked over top of her, saying, wow, to run out time. Despicable. And if you guys have seen it, you'll know that all that did was really make Kim a very sympathetic figure in the upcoming election. Now, I know she's not looking for sympathy. I know she's not looking for any sort of handout. But that's just going to do great things for name recognition. And that's what the 2016 election was run on. Hillary Clinton had this bonkers idea that she had better name recognition than Donald Trump. Okay, the guy who has his name in gold on a bunch of huge buildings around the entire world. A man who's been in popular culture decades prior to Hillary Clinton. And the way that The View treated Kim is going to end up backfiring on that Democratic think tank. I think throughout the course of this video, I made it pretty obvious who I would definitely support. And, who's Kim Klacik? I hope that she's the one that wins this congressional race. I know it's a wildly uphill battle. And, hey, even if she can just chip away, and if we're doing this again in 2024, I sure hope that she has a chance then. Hopefully it's for re-election. But I'll leave it there, guys. Hope you found this information. Hope you found this video very informative, because hey, Kim has some great points, and Kweisi needs to have his name out there for just being a lip service candidate with a history of not doing a whole lot, and some skeletons that he'd like to have kept in his closet in the private sector, whereas Kim has done some very great things in the private sector. So my opinion's fairly clear, and I hope that did a little bit of illumination on what's going to be a very closely watched House race here in the upcoming election. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and by the way, I've been Khan Swaylo, and I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.